there has been some debate as to what is growth hacking actually. And people have been fighting about the term, is it stupid or is it a genius idea or whatever. So I'm basically going to give you my take on what growth hacking is and the way we see growth hacking at our company, Simplesite. I'm going to start somewhere else and ask, so what is business? That can be said as a painfully obvious. You just basically need to earn more than you spend. Then you have business. But you can have more details to that. And that's if you go to business school, you learn about logistics and finance and stuff. So, also, if you go to business school, you don't necessarily become a good businessman. But business school might help you become one. I'm going to come back to that. Now, what is a high-growth startup? Again, in this really obvious way, it's about finding out how to provide huge new value to a lot of people. And I've outlined all the important things here. Find out, nobody knows, otherwise it wouldn't be a startup. Huge new value, unless you really do provide a lot of value to someone, it's not going to take off and it's not going to be high growth. And unless you get to a lot of people, again, it's not going to be high growth. So all three things are important here. But what's the business school of high growth? I mean, where do you learn how to do that? A lot of startups have been doing this on intuition. Of course you can do that, but there's a lot to it. I just listed a few of the disciplines that go into actually doing a high growth startup. So you need to attract lots of customers. So you need to think about channels and messaging and value propositions. You need to optimize that a lot. You need to be able to actually prove to them that there is value. So you need to be very, very good at onboarding and understanding what is the aha moment for your users and so on. So that's a discipline. Then there's a discipline of actually selling something to them. You can't just entertain them unless you show banners. If you're selling something, you need to know why and know when and how. What's the pitch? What's the bundle? What's the pricing? That's a discipline. And then you basically need to retain them for a long time so that they keep experiencing that value and hopefully attract others to the same value. So if you look at the ingredients in actually doing high growth, there's a lot of disciplines there that you need to get right. Of course, you can do it by intuition, and obviously you can. But also, you might actually look into what are the methods that other people use to do that. So here's what I think growth hacking is. It's a very, very large toolbox that addresses all of those disciplines. It gives you a lot of inspirations and techniques for actually carrying out all of these different things. So, to some extent, growth hacking is the business school of high growth. It's where you can learn all the techniques or get the catalog or the curriculum for what to do when you want to do high growth. You can learn it other places. Growth hacking is not the only religion, of course, but there is a lot of information to be gotten there. And just as with business, growth hacking is not the same as growth. I mean, it is not a growth strategy to say we're growth hackers. It's a growth strategy to know value and to know your users. And growth hacking is a very, very large, very interesting toolbox that you can apply to some of the things that you need to do. So this is our take on growth hacking. We do a lot of growth hacking in the company, but growth hacking is not what defines us. That's the value we create and the growth we're looking for. But growth hacking really plays an important role in doing that. And just to finalize, because it's not a textbook yet, so you need to go to the web and find all sorts of resources. And what we've done on the Nordic Growth Hackers website is basically collect the resources that we find are the most interesting and instructive. So if you go to nordicgrowthhackers.com resources, you'll basically see sorted into those disciplines what do we think are the best resources out there for actually finding out what the toolbox is. So basically, it's just a toolbox. It's not more religious than that, but it's a really, really good toolbox. You don't need to use all the tools, you need to find the tools that are important to your business. That's basically it. So now for the rest of the evening, we're going to hear 6 very interesting talks about growth in a variety of the disciplines we're talking about, in acquisition and retention. We're going to hear about growth that worked, growth that didn't work, or growth that worked but didn't create business. And you're going to have some interesting war stories from out there that hopefully will inspire you in terms of what you're doing in your business. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. you.